Hello everybody, I just woke up. It is 10:51 a.m. and let's continue with our marathon. Alright, so this is what we have so far. If we run this, right, so what we're going to do is just add in the buttons over here, the D-pad over here, and the buttons over here. Well, let me just show you. We are just going to add these, add these in. The top left, top right, D-pad, options, pause, attack, and jump. They're not going to be functional yet, but we're just going to add them in. Alright, without further ado, let's do that real quick so that we can move on to the where the real stuff is. So what we're going to do is going to create a call it pad, and we're going to create this class. We're going to create a new package and put that over there, because I'm going to call it components. Did I spell it right? Components. Yep. New class, we're going to call it HUDpad. Alright. HUDpad. Right. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is have a bunch of rectangles so that we can add user interaction, so that we can detect which one the user touches. So this is the way I usually do things whenever I'm using the combined matrix projection. I always have base rectangles and map rectangles. So, and let's create our array of atlas regions. We're going to need that. Call it regions. Let's also create our screen rectangles, and you'll see what I mean by this soon enough. So what do we need? So we need a left base, a right base, left, right, up, down, and of course for the whole D-pad we need one for options, pause, attack, top left and top right. So let's do that right now. Let's do that real quickly, because and this is just my naming conventions. Again, if you don't like it, don't watch the videos. Okay, we have our base rectangles. Now what we're going to do is have our scene rectangles. So what we're going to do is just copy and paste this over here. Control find. I'm going to find base and just replace that. Also need our our atlas regions. Our D-pad region, our top right, region right here. Of course, we need our jump region. We just these are just the textures that we have in our folder, in our texture atlas. Again, this is my naming conventions. You don't have to follow it. Alright, so let's make a public. No, we don't have an actor yet. So do this, let's init our textures first, and then we're gonna initialize our rectangles. So our top left region, and we're going to refer to our atlas. Remember, we're only going to be using one texture for the entire game, because I think that's enough. It should be much more than enough for this small game that we're going to make. Now, this top left corner is the thing that we named it. So if you go to our where we put our resources in, if we search top left, I'm referring to this, right? And even in our texture atlas, let me just show you. Hold on. No, never mind. Let me show you. So if we control find top left, see right here, top left corner. So that's just the texture. This is the way the texture atlas works, and it's pretty intuitive. It's pretty simple. So I don't think I need to explain that. Just need to go back there and find out what we named these things. So top right region, I just slept for 7 hours. I really need to get more sleep. I just couldn't sleep when I was thinking about this. Only have 4 days left. Need to put this up in Google Play. Need our jump region, our attack region, our pause region, and our options region. So jump, attack, I believe, yeah, options. And then what we're going to do for less lines of code later on, we're just going to add this to our array of atlas regions. What is going on? Oh, my bad. And make sure that it's in proper order. So top left, top right, D-pad, jump, attack, pause options. I mean, you can have different order, but you're gonna have to be consistent. You'll see what I mean right now when we start making our rectangles. So let's do that right now. Alright, so let's make our screen rectangles. And I know this probably doesn't make any sense to you, but this is just the way I do things. Now we're going to take a look at our HUD.xef. We're going to check at what point this texture begins. So left base, that's going to be, so the way I'm going to do this is that we have our D-pad. There's going to be a rectangle for the D-pad. However, the D-pad is going to be, in addition to that, the user just can't touch the D-pad, right? I mean, we can detect if the user touches the D-pad, but we don't just want to detect that. We want to detect if the user touches the left, the up, the right, or the down. It's going to be quite small, so we might have to scale it later on, but for now let's just stick to what we got. So I see that the left starts at 22 and y coordinate of 320 minus 295, which is 25. So 22 and 25. And then what's the height? Right? Something like that, maybe not 25, but I think it's 8. Yeah, we're gonna have to move it down a little bit, maybe right over here. And then we just have our original widths because we're not going to stretch it. So left base, no, sorry, left region dot original. Come on. Did I not create a left region? Oh no, yeah, no. Never mind. We only have the D-pad region. So what we're going to need to do is find out manually what the width and height of this is going to be. So, you know what, I'm just going to do that off screen. I'm going to pause the video right here because I don't want to be wasting your time trying to figure out, okay, this is the width, subtract this, subtract that, the height, subtract this from that, and then that's what we're going to put in here. Once I'm done, I'll go back and explain everything that I did. Okay, I'm back. As you can see here, I filled out the points. Now these points are just the screen coordinates in our 480 by 320 concept or layout that we made earlier using GIMP. So okay, the left right here, this one right here, starts at 28 and height of 8. Now remember, since the y grows downwards in GIMP, we're going to need to subtract whatever we see here. So it's 312, well, 320 minus 312, that's 8. And I said that this rectangle is going to be 40 width and 48 height. And I just did the same thing for our right here, right button, the down button, and the up button. Now I also did our top left base, which is right over here, which is at 8, and at height 264. Remember, 320 minus whatever this is, 264, and we're not going to be stretching it, so top left is going to remain 1-to-1 ratio. So top left region original width, top left region original height. And I just did the same thing for the top right. The top right, the D-pad, the jump, the attack, the pause, and the options. And then I added them to the base rectangle array. Make sure that this is in proper order. Now if you take a look right here, make sure that they're in the same order as we put them over here. Otherwise, the thing that we're about to do will not it's going to go wrong. Now we're not going to be adding these rectangles in these base rectangles because these rectangles has no corresponding texture. I mean, they have the D-pad. They're just a bunch of rectangles that we're going to be using to detect user input. They don't really have a corresponding texture like the top left base. Since we could have divided our D-pad into left, top, right, and down, but why do that? Just have one texture and just divide it into just position some different rectangles in the same texture. So that's exactly what I did. I hope you followed that. It's really very simple. Alright, so now we have our screen rectangles. What we're going to do is program in our scene rectangles or our map rectangles. So let's just make a note over here. This is not added to array. And the same thing over here. These arrays are just going to be used for drawing stuff, for when we're going to loop on the draw call. You'll see what I mean. Alright, so we got our left. And we're just going to initialize this to our left base. I mean, we really don't need to, because we're going to overwrite them anyways when we're updating. Actually, no, we're not. What we're going to do is we're just going to modify their x and y values, but not their width and height. We're not going to be changing that. So oh geez, come on. Alright, let's try the rest of them. And you know what, for easier, we're just going to copy and paste what we have here. Remove base. And then just remove whatever is in here. Laziness. Oh, just gonna top right base. Alright, I think that's pretty much it that we need to do here. And of course our HUD pad is going to implement Alright, so for the draw method, I guess what we're going to do is, well, first let's set the batch color to full color. Now this color white is nothing but full color 11111, because we always want to be drawing our GUI at full color, not affected by the world color. So for I equals 0, now this is where the rectangles are going to come into play. So regions, for each texture that we put in the texture array that we named region, remember our rectangles, so that's why they needed to be in the same order, because this is what we're going to do. And we're just going to reset the batch color to the world color. Now in our update method, what we're going to do is we're just going to update our scene rectangles. So for we're going to update their X and Y positions like what we did before, to make sure that they're following the camera, that they always stay, their relative positions will always be, okay, their relative positions to the camera will always be where we in their screen rectangles, the base rectangles. So the way we're going to do that is very simple. We're just going to add their bases with the camera rect X and the camera rect Y. So I guess and this is why they need to be in the same order as well. And we're going to do the same thing for the Y. And now it should be following the camera. But also remember that we have 4 more rectangles that we did not add to our list, so we're going to need to do that over here as well. We can't forget it. We're just going to do the same thing. Also for the Y component, do is left, right, up, down. Up, down. Okay, and yeah, I believe we are ready, but also let's create an interface called touchable, because let's go to our interface. Might as well create an interface touchable. Public on touch down. And you'll know what this is soon enough. This is when we take inputs from LibGDX as input processor. Whoops, this is an interface. And it needs to return a Boolean. Alright, so we're going to implement, oops, where is that? Oh, right here. So what are we going to do if our left dot contains the x and y, meaning the user touched the left rectangle on the D-pad? Well, I guess, to do. What about the right? Just do the same thing here. Now you can't switch on these because they're not integers or final variables. You can't do a switch. This is the way you're going to have to do it. Jump attack. Else, just return false. Now, if they touch this, we're going to need to return true. Return true. Now, what these mean is that we could have multiple input processors, and if we do, let's say that this is the first input processor and we have another one after this that gets checked. If we return true now, the other input processor will not be called because, well, we return true. This method over here handled the input already, so we're going to say, well, okay, we handled the input, so there's no need for you to be called if we have multiple input processors. And you're going to see what I mean later on, but for now, just trust me on this one. Okay, and let's check out what we have so far. So we have our HUD pad, just import that. Let's create it here. Right, and then we're going to update it. And of course we're going to draw it after these things over here. Now, right, so this is in the HUD draw call, and we already ended the batch, so we need to call batch.begin again. Whoa, what? Hold on a moment. Alright, so here. Okay, let's check out what we have if we run this. Of course, we always have null pointers. We always have null pointer exceptions everywhere. Always, all the time. Of course, I mean, that's just the way it is. So it's saying null pointer exception here, rects. Did I not initialize it? Wow, I am so retarded. Oh my god. Alright. Sorry about that. We haven't added these rectangles in our list of rectangles. I'm in the HUD pad, by the way. In the init rectangle method. Excuse me. And make sure that they're, again, you know what, let's just copy and paste this over here. I don't know what I'm doing. Alright, now if we run this, we should have something. And there we go. Perfect. So right now, if I touch this, it's going to go on touchdown. Well, not yet. So let's add some functionality. I'm not sure if I should start the actor yet, like make the character yet, or just keep, might as well finish the HUD, right? So that we can get the boring stuff over with. So we did say that we were going to use accelerometer. Well, I guess not yet. So this one is also going to implement touchable. If I can spell it. And all we're really going to do here is make sure that we just return the pad dot on touchdown. Alright, now let's actually create our processor. So we need a HUD input processor. I'm just going to name it that. And this is going to need to implement the interface input processor, which is the LibGDX class. So we got a bunch of stuff here. You know, let's just separate the things that are not available for the Android, because the Android doesn't have a, well, it does have a keyboard, but when you scroll the mouse, again, I'm not going to explain any of these, pretty self-explanatory, but really we're just going to be using the touch down and the touch up for the Android. Maybe the touch move later on, maybe, but okay. And we're just going to separate these. We're going to go over here. This is for the desktop. Now this is for the Android, which is for the touchscreen. And all we're going to do here is, well, let's create our constructor first. And we're going to need a vector 3. Call it touch position. And we're just going to make sure that that's initialized. Now what we're going to do is we're going to set the touch position, because since this implements the input processor, what this is going to do when we set it to be our input processor is going to take in all events that happen on the screen, touch down, touch up, touch move, and give us the following information. So what we're going to do is we're just going to this to x and 0 for z, because we're not really, our z is always equal to 1. So, well, is it equal to 1? Never mind, forget I said that. So we're just going to return false here. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to our camera, the orthographic camera, and we're just going to unproject our vector 3. So when we touch down on the Android screen, it's going to give us these coordinates, which is in normalized device coordinates, NDC. And what we need to do is convert that into world coordinates, which is what we're doing here. So and we're just going to pass in the touch so now all of the things, all of the x and y coordinates that we're going to be getting is in terms not on the coordinates of our screen, but on the coordinates of the game world specified by our combined matrix, which is why we had different rectangles, one for the screen and one for the world. And that's why we're doing this, updating it so that this always follows the camera, these things. It might not make any sense, but what am I doing? Why don't I just turn Rary? I don't want people to laugh at me saying, well, what are you doing? Why not just use it like this? Okay, I'll do it like that. Jeez, you guys are always so. Anyways, now we can receive inputs. However, we're not done just quite yet. So in our class right over here on create, we're not going to put the HUD over here. I made that mistake. Just going to put it over here. And now we want to pass on, should we pass it on? Just do it over there. Let's just pass it on over here. And now we need to go back to our HUD, and it's going to expect a HUD input processor. So do we even want to save it? No, we don't even want to save it. Don't even save it as a public. We're just going to, I mean, it's not really necessary, but we're just going to do it here. We could have done it in KF Nekko, what we're about to do now, but it doesn't really matter, I guess. But I'm just a little bit OCD like that, so. Alright. And you need to do this so that you specify which processor class that you're going to be using, that the GDX is going to be calling. It's like just setting a callback function, that's all it is. Alright, so you're ready to receive inputs. And again, this is what we have so far. So let's actually now add in the character. And this is going to be the fun part. This is going to be the fun part. So let's get on to that. We're going to add the actual main character, which is the cat. So let's do that right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a bunch of actors. That's what we're going to call them. I can call them whatever I want. Package, and we're just going to put in actors. And we're going to create a class called actor. Now, the actor class, there's actually a another class that LibGDX provides you. It's also called actor. But we're not going to be using their actor. We're going to be using our implementation of what an actor is. Right? Just because you know, if you don't use their actor class, this is going to be a lot more flexible. We can do whatever we want. We don't have to follow what they provided for us, and that's the beauty. That's one of the beauty of LibGDX. You don't have to use anything that they provide you. As a matter of fact, you can do everything. You don't have to use a sprite batch. You don't have to use a camera. You can just use the GDX GL, refer to the GL class, and you can just use that. You don't have to use any LibGDX class whatsoever, which is pretty awesome, and it's still gonna work. So yeah, an actor is gonna implement a drawable, and it's also gonna be updatable. And this is not going to be a class because an actor can be our main character, an actor can be a monster or whatever. So we're gonna say that's an abstract class. And an actor is going to have a sprite, right? Now I believe there's also a LibGDX, yeah. No, but we're also going to create our own sprite so that we can be as flexible as possible. So don't import it. We haven't created this class yet. Just leave it there. And you know, actors are going to have a location on the map. So and don't worry, for now we're going to create these classes. We also have well, before we continue with this, let's create our enums that we're going to be using. Remember I said we're going to be using enums. So let's go on here and create a new package. Each actor has different states, so this is where we're going to put our enums at. Since this is going to be a fighting game, they're going to have a combat state. Just create the classes for now. Don't ask any questions. An actor can be facing left or right, so face state. An actor is going to have a more horizontal motion. So we're going to split the horizontal motion with the vertical motion. So horizontal motion can either be going moving left, moving right, or just staying still. So oh, what am I doing? They're not supposed to be class, they're supposed to be enums. Well, let's just go back here and instead of class put enum. Right. Let's create a new enum. Vertical motion state. Let's create another enum. The visibility is the actor visible or is it not visible relative to where our camera is at. And what's the status? Is our actor still alive? Is it dead? And I guess we should have called it visibility state, but whatever. Alright, so let's go to our combat state, and this is, well, no, I think this is going to be big. So we're just going to go to our visibility first. It's either going to be visible and not visible. Now these are just constants that we're going to be referring to. That's what enums are essentially. So that's our visibility. Let's go to our face state, right? Did I just really say static state? I meant status. Go to our face state. You can either be facing left or right. Go to our status state. In our status state, all we're going to have is either going to be alive or dead. Are you serious? Static state, amazing. Status state. Jesus. Okay, alive or dead. That's all it has for the horizontal motion state. He's either going to be idle, he's either going to be moving. That's really it. For vertical motion state, he's either going to be jumping or falling. There's really no other. For our combat state, it's going to be a lot of fun. The combat state. Wait, am I? Okay, yes I am. It's just for now. The combat state, remember if we go to our, hold on. Yeah, so if we go to our specification over here, so we have idle, right? We have walk, we have jump. Now what about for the combat? What are we going to do for the combat? I'm going to take a look. So for the combat, we have different moves. We can spin, we can do a power shot, we can do a fast shot, we can do a flying kick, a super uppercut. We can do a 1-2 combo, we can do a low kick, plus middle kick, we can do a high kick, we can do a downward kick, two-sided attack, a round kick, and uppercut. So those are our combat moves, and so that's what we're gonna do. Let me just put this on the side right over here, and so we have idle, meaning we're out of combat. We have fast shot, and I guess this is going to be a normal default attack, maybe. It's going to be our normal default attack, just a jab. We have the 1-2 combo, which I see that there's like, if you take a look at the 1-2 combo, where is it? Right here, the 1-2 combo, we see that the character has, it strikes 2 times. Right here, it strikes once over here, and then another over here. So that's why, I guess that's why it's called the 1-2 combo. And the same thing for low kick, middle kick. He kicks low and then kicks middle. So what we're gonna do is this is going to be, I guess, low, middle kick. Let's do it this way so we keep things organized. And this is going to be a double hit attack. So it's going to do 1 damage. But remember, it attacks twice, so times 2. And I guess for the power attacks, we're going to have power attacks, which deals 2 damage or something like that. Now, these things are going to be single target. So we have our power shot, we have our uppercut, Alright, and we're going to have our AoE attacks that does 1 damage. I guess it's going to be two-sided attack. And then we're going to have our AoE power attacks, which does AoE damage, area of effect damage, meaning it hits multiple targets. Does 2 damage to all of them that are hit. I think this is going to be round kick, downward kick, and high kick. So the kick attacks are going to be the power attacks. And we're going to have the ultimate attack. It's also going to be AoE. It does 3 damage. So this is like the OP attack. It's going to be the super uppercut. If I can spell super correctly. And then we're going to have our jump attack that does 1 damage, not AoE, spin. And then we're going to have our AoE jump attack, also does 1 damage, flying kick. And now we just specified all of our combat states corresponding to what we are given. So yeah, so if our combat state is in flying kick, then we're going to be displaying this animation loop, the flying kick animation loop. So these are our combat states. Let's go to our actor. And so our actor is going to have all of these states. It's going to have a face state, it's going to have a so it's going to have all of these states. And this is just my naming conventions again. And let's just import that. Alright, so for the location, we're going to need to create that. It's going to be, I guess, components. Now the location is going to take care of all of our physics. And we're just going to create our own physics. We're not going to use box 2D. Box 2D, I don't think it's necessary. So and make sure that we import our own class location. For some reason not showing in here. Well, let's just clean the project. Maybe I'll do it. I do have a class location. What are you talking about? Okay, maybe it's because of the sprite. Well, I'll just create the sprite now anyways. So each actor is going to have a sprite, and it's going to handle all the textures and stuff like that, the drawing. Right now I think we can import that. Now remember, do not import the LibGDX version of sprite. Import our own implementation of a sprite. So Also location, our own location, which for some reason, right here. So before we get onto our location, you know what, should we do location now? Yeah, might as well just do location now, and then we're going to do sprite, and we're going to be using all of these things so we can output something on the screen, our main character, and then we're going to make it move and stuff like that, make it interactive. But for now, this is all we have so far. It's the basic layout of our GUI. And I guess I'll take a little break here, a 2-hour break. See you guys in the next video. Next video is going to be, I think we can finish our main character there, so look forward to that. Alright, I'll see you then.